Hello and welcome to the Salient demo series. We're going to give folks a couple of minutes to get joined up and then we'll start. So hang in there with us. Okay, it looks like we actually have quite a number of folks who have joined us. I know it's just a minute past. Great news though is we're recording this session for anyone who misses this. We'll go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Sanjay. I'm Salient's Chief Product Officer. I'm joined here by other members of our product team. So Chris, Eric, if you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick.
Yeah, Chris Garner, Senior Product Manager for Complete View here at Salient.
I'm Eric Saturnus. I'm a product manager for all the web-related things, cloud, web and mobile, and corporate website.
Fantastic. And in today's demo series, we're going to be covering a lot of things. But before we get to the agenda, a little bit of housekeeping. If you're having issues connecting in, there's also a teleconferencing number you can use. So here it is with the access code. So if you're having issues with the audio, as participants, you're muted, but that doesn't mean you can't actually engage with us. So we would love for you to put questions in. There are two options. There's a chat box that's going to be visible to all participants. I think that's actually not visible to all participants. The Q&A box, I believe, is the one that's visible to all participants. But either way, either use the chat or the Q&A buttons. Put in your questions. We'll do our best to handle these things organically as they come up. So instead of waiting until the very end, we'll try to monitor and answer any questions that come up as we're going, so we can keep it a little bit more dynamic. Um, with that, as we get started here, we're going to go ahead and turn off our video just to make sure you get the best possible experience. This demo series does include a lot of demonstrations, and so this is the last you'll see of our beautiful mugs, and we're going to dive in today to the demo series. All right, so a little bit about who we are. We're a leading video management provider. One of the things that really makes us stand out is the fact that we are an open platform. So we really pride ourselves in the breadth and depth of not just our camera integrations, but with a variety of other technology partners, including access control, analytics, and many others. We've also got a robust cloud offering, and we really think about ourselves as a data platform, not just video. Our goal really is to help our customers customize their solution ecosystems with the best of breed technologies while leveraging their existing infrastructure. And we're really keen on helping customers not just deliver on safety and security needs, but to drive their business operations with actionable insights. So that's a little bit of who we are and what we focus on delivering. A little bit on why Salient. There are a lot of products out in the marketplace, a lot of video products out in the marketplace. We think we're somewhat unique because of our flexibility and scalability. We can start at single site deployments with a single recorder supporting 8 cameras and scale. I think our largest customers have north of 50, 60,000 cameras deployed with us. Some might be even larger. We've also got a very unique cloud offering, and we see ourselves as a transition leader from purely on-premise to hybrid cloud. We've also got industry-leading technology on bandwidth management and responsiveness. We call that dynamic resolution scaling, and you'll see that throughout today's demonstrations. We've also got some of the best support in the industry. We take a lot of pride in standing by our customers. Your success is our mantra, whether that's system integrators or end users. And last but not least, we believe we have very competitive pricing that drives a low overall cost of ownership. And so these are some of the really major reasons why we believe we stand out in the marketplace. With that, what do we actually offer to the marketplace? We provide a VMS platform that's complete view. Again, core to it is the intuitiveness and simplicity and its ability to scale from small deployments to very large deployments across verticals. We've introduced a set of cloud services over a year ago, maybe coming on 2 years at this point, and it's really focused on giving people access to video anytime, anywhere, but also helping people scale their monitoring and management, so performing maintenance remotely as well. We've also got an analytics offering. It is the Video AI Video Analytics. This is something we resell. We have it very nicely integrated with our platform, and we've made it easy to add this on to your Complete View system. And last but not least, we have a set of hardware appliances that support these various product offerings. So this is what we have available for sale in the marketplace. That gets us to what we're going to actually cover today. So in this demo series, we're going to do a quick overview of the Salient platform itself. We're going to briefly touch on our VMS, our cloud services, and on our analytics offerings. We're then going to pivot and really do a recap of our latest and greatest release. And so this is Complete View 7.5. Came out very recently. We debuted it actually at the GSX conference. And so we're going to cover not every single feature, but some of the more interesting features out of this release. We'll wrap up with a little discussion on what's ahead with our roadmap. So with that, let's talk about our platform. First and foremost is our VMS. Like any VMS, it's really focused, as we say here, on live search and export, but on your ability to view, record, and manage video data. What really sets us apart is the fact that we are so operator friendly. So we have extremely responsive desktop, web, and mobile clients that are incredibly consistent. So it's very easy to pick one up because they have the same look and feel. We have some really nice interactive mapping that's a part of our client experiences, and what we believe is some very intuitive search, playback, and export capabilities. Beyond being very operator friendly, easy to pick up for especially potentially a high turnover workforce, we've got some very powerful administration and monitoring tools. We do provide centralized management that scales again to tens of thousands of cameras. We've got some very unique predictive storage analytics that will warn you if you're coming up on your retention policy, if you're running out of storage, whatnot. It'll proactively let you know that. We've got things like Active Directory integration, so you can fit this into larger enterprise deployments. And last but not least, back to the notion of we're an open platform. We've got really a stellar lineup of technology integrations. This is not just camera integrations, but we're talking, dozens, if not more. I think there's 26, 27 odd access control integrations that we proudly support. And then we are connected up with a variety of analytic solutions, whether they're server-based, cloud-based, or even camera-based. So this is a little bit of what sets our VMS apart. Let's actually take a look. And so I'm going to pull up Complete View here. Let me drag it over. All right. Wonderful. So I hopefully am sharing this effectively enough for you guys to see, but I've got our VMS pulled up. You'll notice I've just got one of our views, the Salient headquarter overview. I think one of the things that's very notable about Salient the moment you start using it is when you switch, so let's check out the hallways, the pace at which all of this video loads, it is nearly instantaneous. And it is probably leading in the industry how low latency, how snappy that experience is. Again, we'll switch back and you'll notice, bam, we're right back. You'll also notice as I'm switching between views, the map updates, so we can tie different maps to different views. Very easy to hover over, and if there's something interesting happening, we can even double click into these cameras to just focus on bringing them up. And so it's just added this camera over here again that was blinking over there. And so very, very easy mapping that goes along with the live viewing. Furthermore, let's talk a little bit about kind of the playback and how easy that is. So I'm going to pick one of these cameras, this front doorway here, and I will go review this in timeline. So this is our timeline search experience. We get this timeline down here at the bottom. We've added some features to make this even more intuitive. I'm going to actually go to the last event. It looks like we've got some events here. All right, look at that. We've got someone coming into the office when we review this event. What we can do is we can make it really easy on ourselves, actually. We can find a couple of hallway cameras and see where this person might have gone. So it looks like we've got a couple of hallways that we can bring in. Let's grab this guy and dump him in. Let's grab this guy. So we're going to grab a few hallway cameras and see where this person might have turned. All right, we've got lots of events here. Let's just hit play and see if this person took a turn down one of these hallways. All right, look at that. We see that they've taken a turn onto this camera over here, this main hallway. And so between the lobby and the main hallway, we can now say, hey, I've got this, maybe this incident of the person coming in. Let's go ahead and actually do an export. And so we've got a really cool feature here. You'll notice it says trim and export. So I can go ahead and press the trim and export. And I can find kind of the time that's interesting for me of this person going down the hallway. I have the ability, actually, if I go back, I can do this on any of the cameras as well. Drag the slider, and then commit this to the export queue. Ta-da! That's out the door. I can even go back and kind of select any or all of these and trim and export each of these individually. But that's how easy it is to do some live view, get access to what's happening on the map, jump into playback, maybe search for other cameras. Again, I just typed in the word hallway and found all these hallways. Off I go. And so this is just a quick sneak peek of that live search export. Obviously, once it's in the export queue, I have the ability to manage and decide where I want to go export that to. We're not going to do an export here today, but that's just a quick sneak peek of our VMS. Let's now talk a little bit about our cloud services. This is kind of the next major exciting thing that we offer. Quick overview of what our cloud service offering does. It is really focused on secure remote video. So the idea is if you're remote, regardless of whether you're sitting there with the desktop, web, or mobile client, you have the ability to securely access both live and recorded video. You can finally control exactly who gets remote access. So there are permissions that control that. And again, you can use any client besides secure remote video, which can be very powerful, not just for people trying to oversee their properties, but also to enable things like first responders, we've got the ability to remotely manage and monitor. And this can be very powerful for administrators, for system integrators, because now it's possible without rolling a truck, without being on site, to manage users and system configuration, manage the performance and health of the system, even push software updates. And so very powerful management and monitoring capabilities. And last but not least, when we thought about this cloud offering, we really thought about making it very easy, very smooth to adopt. And so there's no need to kind of pull in IT and make a bunch of firewall updates or changes. This is a very secure solution out of the box. There's no need to modify your existing deployment. The Salient Cloud Services solution neatly layers on top of a complete view deployment that's on premise. And we've also kind of thought through having a simple, free tier to this where you simply register your deployment. And it starts giving you access to some very powerful dashboards. We're going to demonstrate that here in a minute. In case full-blown remote access may not be the most appropriate thing for you. We still wanted there to be some value. And so let's talk very briefly about the architecture before we get into a demonstration. But this picture down below describes what a standard VMS deployment looks like. You've got a management server, you've got one or more recorders that are talking to the cameras, you've got some set of desktop, web, and mobile clients. They're all on a single LAN effectively. Fantastic. Well, our goal here is to introduce remote access. So sitting out on the internet is Salient Cloud Services. And simply by registering your deployment, you get access to a set of web dashboards. So at this point, there's no cost involved. It's just a call home from the management server. This process takes hardly a few minutes. And voila, you will get some web dashboards. Very powerful for understanding the assets that are in your deployment, and we'll demonstrate that. If you then go for the paid service, we establish a secure VPN connection automatically. Again, one of those things where you don't need to lift a finger. We set that up. And then we allow you to use the exact same desktop, web, and mobile clients that you were using on premise, except you use them remotely. And what that means is you put in a slightly different URL to access the system remotely. One of the really cool things about Salient Cloud Services is we give our system integrators and our end users the ability to kind of white label that remote access URL. So it is, your company name .mysalient.com, something that we do free of cost as part of setting up that paid remote access. And so, you can have your acme.mysalient.com, and that's your remote access URL that you can use. It'll also work on premise as well. So going forward, if you choose, you can just use that URL to access your system. Now, that was a lot of talking. Let's actually do a demonstration. We're going to demonstrate both the dashboard itself, and then we're going to do a quick demo of coming in through that, remote access URL, the, remote.mysalient.com. And to do this,
All right. Sanjay, I might have lost audio for a second there. So yell if you can't hear me in case it's on my end. Otherwise, I'm going to start sharing my screen for a demo.
Yep.
All right, there we go. Okay, so everybody should be seeing a web browser here. This is my Salient portal. So this is just the login page. So like Sanjay was talking about, this was really something that we established. We wanted to make sure that we could give you content that's going to make your job easier. If a complete view is focused on the end user and doing their job, this is all the ancillary pieces that you might need outside of actually monitoring your data. So let's log in here with a end user account as an example. Oops, maybe I need to refresh my page. I've had it open for a long time here. Let me just refresh real fast. Sorry about that, live demos. See if I maybe lost my network connection. Okay, all right. So let's log in here with typical end user accounts. Let's log in there. And so immediately what you're presented with is all these different tiles. So like I was describing, this is all the content that you might want outside of actually using and monitoring your system, your video data itself. These are all the pieces that'll help you with its training, additional software downloads, what cameras are supported, all that kind of content. And this is, depending on your type of account, you'll have different tiles available based on what's relevant. Core piece there that Sanjay was talking about is this dashboard. So if I click on here, immediately you can see all of the different deployments, management servers, whichever word you choose, that we have registered in our system today as this account. So if I click on, say, this demo server here, you can see I have a deployment here, and here's all the recorders that are part of that system. And really what's nice about this is we make it really easy to get all the data you need to monitor the health, maintain the system, and support it. So you can see things here like the product ID, which version you're on, is your service agreement up to date, all that kind of information is on here and here to facilitate that. And if you need, like we were talking about, so that's all in the free tier. In that paid tier of being able to have secure remote access, there's a handy little link right here. If you click on that, that gives you this URL, which you can use in any one of those clients to access your complete view system from any system. Here, I'm just going to open this up in a web client. So we'll just give this a second to load. And so I am remotely accessing our demo server here. Looks like I must have a slow internet connection today. Usually this is super fast. But once this loads, it'll look very familiar if you've seen just earlier in here where we showed the complete view desktop client. The web client looks very, very similar. We followed the same style, so I can log in here with my username and my password. There we go. And then you get all those same types of capabilities. All my cameras, all my views, I can play back and search. All those capabilities are built right in here. All right, yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up on our demo here.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Eric. And again, one of the most powerful things about that was that dashboard that's free of cost, all that asset record keeping, including things like product IDs, renewal on maintenance, very easy place to get all of that, and something that we often find, end users, system integrators, sometimes scrambling to find or document. So we've tried to make that very easy. Next thing we're going to talk about is our analytics offering, Video AI, Video Analytics. It's a very powerful suite of vehicle, facial, and object analytics. Works with any camera. It is a server-based analytic solution, which allows you to use it with any camera, including, even older analog cameras. Anything that presents a video source, we can leverage and use. Scalable from just a handful of cameras to extremely large deployments. And I think what's most exciting is to just get into this. And so let's jump into a demonstration really quickly of Video AI, video analytics. So as Eric was doing a demonstration, I went into our playback experience. Up here in the top, you'll see it says web views, and so one of the web views we have is the Video AI search. It is a nice way to integrate technologies like this in. You'll notice it feels like a seamless part of the user experience. But what we can do is we can find any vehicles this morning. Any red vehicles. Let's go ahead and let's see. Is there any other criteria we want to add? We can select some cameras. Good, we've got some driveway cameras. That'll be kind of important. And then let's see, maybe we can add person to this as well. We'll just make sure there's more than one person. All right, and we'll go ahead and hit search. What's amazing is the speed at which that happens. So I set up my criteria, and you'll notice how quickly it pulled up, red vehicle and at least one person. Wasn't always perfect, but I can very quickly sift through, there we are, red vehicle, person, red vehicle, person on a motorcycle, in fact. And so this allows me on the investigative side to very quickly go in and perform analytic searches, find the video or the point of interest I'm looking for, go through my workflow. But we've also got these integrations baked into our live view. So with Video AI Video Analytics, if we go back to our live view, in the events that are flowing through down here in the bottom right, we will get various detections. For example, this Video AI detection of, hey, red car or truck detected. Amazing. So let's pull up red car or truck detected. If we go to the video, it will actually show us that red car or truck. I know it's a little stretched over here, but that's the detection that we're getting from that event. And so if we watch this, we'll find a red car or truck. It might have triggered on that vehicle that's in fact parked right over there. And so this is a way in which we've got a powerful suite of analytics. They work with any camera, available to set up alarms that come in through the live view events over here. Also available as a part of that that playback experience where you can kind of set a much deeper set of filters and very quickly sift through quite a bit of video. And so that's a little peek of the Video AI Video Analytics. Again, very powerful suite of object, person, vehicle-based analytics. Let's now talk a little bit about the last release that we did. So this was near the end of Q3, and it's our 7.5 release, and we're going to do a quick recap because this is the latest and greatest that we have to offer. And so we're going to talk about some of the highlights from that release, and these are the areas we're going to focus on. And we're going to start first with enhanced playback. And so to talk through this and then to demonstrate it, Chris, do you want to tell us a little bit about enhanced playback?
Sure, thanks. So in 7.5, we wanted to expand the capabilities of our playback. We made some improvements in our multi-camera playback by having a centered timeline and being able to do smooth scrubbing and jump between events and jump in time. And we wanted to bring that forward into our playback search capability. So we've now added that. We've kept a lot of the capabilities that you have. We'll show that in the demo here of being able to see the events on the left-hand side of the screen, but just bringing that usability forward into this area of our product here. So let me jump over to a demo here real quick.
Cool. Take over the screen share.
Yep. Making sure
As you're doing that, I'll answer a question real quick. Will we have OAuth, SAML, authentication? We certainly are working on better supporting single sign-on and multi-factor auths. that is one of the things we're looking forward to. We don't have a kind of a commitment on, it will be in this release on this date, but that support should open doors really to any identity provider, because our approach would be to more generically support multi-factor and single sign-on options. So coming soon.
So when looking at the playback search capability here, you'll notice this should look very similar to what we've had in our CV platform for some time now. The biggest change here is along the bottom, where we now have a different timeline, a different behavior here. Again, if you've used our platform for a little bit, you've seen in the multi-camera playback this centered timeline here, where I can usually just scrub along and see what's going on. I can play forward or reverse. I can jump to different events and such. And as I jump through events, you can see it updating on the timeline. Likewise, I can use my results field over here and jump from different events. This is really nice in that, because we've persisted how cameras are, or where our timeline is in this capability. So if I wanted to track a person around a corner, so to speak, I know this camera here, and this is a gentleman that looks a little suspicious here, and I want to see where he's going and what he's doing. So I know which camera's next, so I can easily just jump over to the next one, hit search. I'll get a new list of events, but because I retain the position, if I hit play, everything works out the way it should. He should be coming around the corner. There he goes. So I just need to wait a couple more seconds here, but there he was walking down there, and he went the right direction. So he left the building, so to speak. So it's a really good way to track people through the system here. Much easier use. We have the ability also to do the trim and export capabilities. If you're not familiar with that, a quick little demo is I selected to trim and export here, and I can select the period of time that I want to export and add that to my export queue once I've selected that time. And with that, that's our improvements to playback search.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Here, let's go back to the presentation then. We've got another demo. We've got lots of demos coming up. So next up is some work we did on encryption. So we've done two things. We've added native support for storage encryption, meaning that any video that our recorders capture that we need to write down to disk, we can now encrypt before writing down to disk. And this is a feature that is only available on the Complete View Enterprise Edition. Again, we have 1 Pro and Enterprise, and this is a feature that's baked into the Enterprise Edition. The encryption feature actually works even with failover. So if you have a failover system set up and a recording server goes down, a new recorder comes up, we can ensure kind of seamless, I'll say, continuation of that encryption. And one of the coolest things is we've been able to do this with very minimal impact on the CPU. So it's not like, you want to turn on this feature and now because you're encrypting video, you can put less cameras on a recorder, or you need to get a bigger, beefier recorder. None of that. In the overwhelming, if not all, use cases we've seen, you should be able to leverage the same existing hardware and configuration and enable this feature to ensure that the video you're writing to disk is properly encrypted. But probably an even more useful feature is we've also added better native support for export encryption. And so this is any evidence that you want to export out of our platform. And we've given operators the ability to set a different password for each export. One of the really cool features is the video player that we provide. So you have to use the provided video player in order to interact with any clips that have a password set, this export encryption set. And our video player has always had the ability to load multiple, exports. And if you have set different passwords on all of your exports, our video player is actually really slick. It'll prompt you for each of the different passwords. And so it supports the notion of multiple different exports, all encrypted with different passwords that it needs to load up and play if you've chosen to export it that way. And so very powerful feature to keep your evidence very secure, especially as, if you're handing it over kind of digital media to different people, an extra layer of protection as well. So Chris, if you want to take us through a quick demonstration of export encryption.
Certainly. So quick little side here. I'm in the export queue or playback export queue here. And this is where you go and you would select your clip and hit encrypt export, and you would enter in that password here. So once that's done, you'll end up with the clips on your disk, which I have here. I can then launch the video player and select a clip that I want to open. And if I enter the incorrect password, it will just prompt me again saying, hey, I don't have the right one here. Likewise, if I enter the correct one, hey, I've got it in the video and I can now play it back. So it's pretty straightforward. Once you have that password, you can encrypt or open those files. You can also open multiple files at the same time, assuming they all use the same password. You'll get a prompt for one password here, and it will open all of those up along your timeline and along the bottom. So way to use multiple clips in the export here, even with encryption.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. All right, we are blazing through this, y'all. Next up, another very major feature of our 7.5 release, our latest release, is a major federation feature. This is going to largely apply to larger customers, larger distributed deployments, enterprise kind of class customers. And this is really about scaling the solution. And the notion is, you avoid a single point of failure. You have more than one management server set up, one at every single site, ideally, or region. But while doing that, you don't sacrifice the user experience. So you don't force user to log in and out of each management server. This federation features allows your users, especially the ones with global access, or they're supposed to have global access, easily move between site to site. In this phase of federation, our expectation is a lot of people taking advantage of this would have Active Directory. If you have Active Directory, great. It will properly synchronize users across your different management servers that are part of the federation. If for some reason you're not using Active Directory, which can happen, then there's work you're going to have to do to manually configure these federated users across the different sites that you've got. We've got some work planned to automate this effort to more automatically manage non-Active Directory federated users. Again, we didn't find that to be as big a use case, given that if you're going for a feature like federation, you've probably got an Active Directory type of solution in place already. But we'd love to showcase how easy it is when you've got a large multi-site deployment to basically switch from site to site, from management server to management server, and access the resources, the recorders and whatnot under it. One of the coolest things is how we allow different permissions to be applied to the same user at different sites. So at their home site, they might have access to everything. At some of the other sites that they can navigate to, maybe they have a different set of permissions. And so, Chris, if you want to take us through a quick peek of Federation.
Sure. Let me grab the screen for me again here. All right, so I've got this login here just to show you the process. I'm logging into a single management server, and once I've logged in, I see my sites list up here. These are all different management servers that I can switch back and forth to. So if I go into live view here, just to show you, hey, I've got view here, I'm watching video, and I want to switch to one of my other sites. I would come up and I need to start dragging views in here to actually start saying things. There you go. But as I switch back and forth, I'll go back to the place I was in those particular sites. As Sanjay mentioned, I can do when you go from one site to another site, based on your permissions, you may have access to playback, live view, or whatever the permissions are for that particular site for that user. So really quick and easy to switch in and out. I don't have to remember a bunch of logins or addresses to get to my different sites. That's the quick little teaser about site switching in a federation.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Super slick way for us to scale these deployments. Let's chug along. We've also got some pretty major work delivered with our mobile apps. And so this latest release, we introduced a brand new Android app. I know for a while we kind of had an older Android app in the marketplace, and so we finally took the time to modernize our Android application. It has the same look and feel as the iOS application. It works with Complete View version 7. It's compatible with our cloud service offering, so very exciting there. We've also made some pretty major updates to our iOS app. And so, highly recommend you get your hands on this. For the Android app, on Google Play Store, search for Complete View. We've also included the URL. I know the URL is not something you can click on in this presentation, but if you visit our website, we've also highlighted the mobile apps as one of the highlights, and you will get the links to the Play and the App Store. But it's called Complete View on the Google Play Store. On the Apple App Store, if you've already got the kind of modern iOS app that we have, depending on your device, some people maybe have disabled automatic updates. We very strongly recommend that you go and make sure that you've got the latest and greatest version. This was published a while back. Again, this was all around GSX this year when we showcased and highlighted all this. But just to give you a quick sneak peek of the look and feel of that Android app, Eric, are you able to maybe do a quick screen share of the Android experience? Show us that home screen, maybe live view, prove to us it looks and feels just like the rest of our clients.
Absolutely, yeah. So just taking over the screen share here. So here I've logged into our mobile app. You can see you've got those familiar tiles. Let's say I want to, quickly look at some of my views. By default, it's going to go into one of our views. It's a mobile app, so swipe gestures are supported. I can, swipe between, cycle through all my different views here. And then, of course, I can go through a drop down and see all of my views and choose the one I want. Let's say something interesting is happening on one of those. I can click on one of these cameras here and zoom in. If you've used our other applications before, you've got some familiar things here, playing around with settings, grab a screenshot, review it in a timeline view if you want to go back and play and see something that happened in the middle of the night or something like that. So all those core capabilities are built in here. Like Sanjay was mentioning, we did a lot of work to improve the performance and really match the look and feel with what we have on the iOS app. So regardless of your phone type, you should be having the same experience on these two apps.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. It looks real slick and it looks so similar to the rest of our clients. It's awesome how we've managed to keep that consistent look and feel. Love it. All right. A couple more updates that we have to share. So, not really kind of a part of the release, but something that occurred around the same time as we were doing the 7.5 release is our partnership with key technology providers of smart sensors. And excited to announce that we now have a couple of major smart sensors that are integrated directly into Complete View. And so they're able to report specific events into us. There is a license required per sensor. They come in almost like a camera. In fact, they send us a feed that has their dashboard. And there's a lot that they can detect. So it's not just vaping. I know people often call them vape sensors, but these are really, truly smart sensors. And there's a ton of stuff that they detect besides vaping. I'm not going to read this whole list out. But what I am going to do is demonstrate how these things are integrated into Complete View, because I think this is pretty exciting. I guess I'll first start by going to playback. So in playback, I can actually pull up these sensors like I can any other camera. And when I search by list, you'll notice I get timestamps with maybe something interesting. I guess it detected some motion, but there's some other things. I know this sensor is based out of Austin. I know it's a funny time of year. I believe we were seeing some humidity alarms. Yeah, there you go. And so you'll notice humidity was also pretty high, and so it triggered an alarm on that and said, "Hey, I got my humidity alarm going off based on its configuration." And so you can see that. Same thing both with the really cool Halo Smart Sensor, but also the Triton sensor. If I go ahead and search, again, we've got this set up to look at motion and whatnot. The two sensors slightly different in terms of the interface that they read back to us, but a pretty powerful way to search the events that they've generated. Just as useful, though, is I can get this information from the live view. And so on the live view, I have the ability, might be in integrations. I need to go back and remind myself. We have so many cool things that are Give me a moment. We will find this real quick. Okay, cool. So we've got sensors set up for both Halo and for Triton. And so if I pull up these maps, I'm able to, maybe see an area like the break room and the vape sensor and the details that it provides. And so I can, easily see this data alongside um, the, the camera. And so here's the break room camera. Here's the sensor data next to it. And so pretty useful in live view as well to kind of keep tabs on the statistics from these smart sensors alongside a couple of camera feeds. So we've seen it both in live and in playback. Fantastic. So with that, let's talk a little bit about roadmap and bring the session to a close. Um, so we just talked about our latest release, CompleteView 7.5. Besides these really cool smart sensor integrations, we actually did a demonstration of the Android app, the federation feature, the encryption, at least for the export, and some enhancements to that playback search experience that Chris showed. Um, Coming up, first half of 2025, we've got a lot of work, continued focus on the web client. So there's a bunch of really exciting web client enhancements that we're looking to make. There's some improvements to federation. We're going to do a better job of upgrading the de-warping experience for really high resolution cameras. I think I'm now noticing one of the questions that came in through the Q&A. If you have multi-sensor cameras and you're adding them via the OnVIF driver, right now it's asking the system for a license for each sensor on that multi-sensor, which is not consistent necessarily with our licensing methodology, which is just one license for one IP. We're doing some work in the product to make sure that it just enforces one license consumed per one IP address. And so this really simplifies the licensing of some of these more complicated devices, such as the multi-sensor cameras, especially if you're adding them over the OnVIF driver, which we do recommend. And we're doing some really cool stuff with our cloud product as well, really improving the performance if you are on the LAN and using that remote access URL. So we found that a lot of our end users, a lot of our system integrators, once they have that really slick remote access URL, especially as we allow you to white label it, they want to use that everywhere. And instead of connecting via our cloud, if we detect that you are on the LAN, we're smart enough to make that direct LAN connection as opposed to routing that connection through the cloud. So great way for people to just use one URL once they set up that remote access. Looking out into our future, there's a lot of work going into just really upping our game on analytics, and a lot of this comes in the form of having some richer, nicer support for metadata search, and so that's on the way. We've certainly got a lot of investment in our integrations. We've seen some of them today, whether it's the smart sensors. We didn't spend a lot of time on access control today, but we have a lot of those integrations as well. And there's just continued effort where we continue to support and maintain our integrations. And so that's one of our strong future areas of investment. And last but not least, we're already seeing it in our first half roadmap, but a ton of continued web and cloud enhancements that we have coming out. And so that's a quick sneak peek into our roadmap. I'm sure as we get into kind of planning and goal setting for the next year, that this will be further refined. So at our next demo series, we'll probably have a clearer update of what the rest of 2025 looks like. If anything you saw here was interesting, exciting, piqued your interest, this is just a quick demo series to familiarize you with our platform and the set of solutions that we have. Please take time to schedule a one-on-one demo where we have the ability to go a lot deeper with you on any topic, maybe find out how our solutions might relate to the problems that you have. And at this point, we'll kind of quickly browse the chat and the Q&A. But this concludes our Salient demo series. So thank you so much for taking the time to attend. All right, looking at the Q&A. Cool. It says, will we support object storage like S3 or Wasabi? Believe it or not, we have an integration with Wasabi. And so that's been in place for some time. I think for a while there was even some joint promotion. I'm not sure if that's still in place or if that's ended. But yes, we actually already support, I know for sure we have an integration with Wasabi. And so that's something we've got in place. One of the questions that's come up. Certainly, we're looking at perhaps having some other solutions to expand beyond Wasabi in terms of archive or cloud-enabled storage. Let's see. Um, I guess someone is struggling with the Q&A, and so they put it in chat. Does Salient Video or its integrators app have ingress, egress traffic? Yes. So can you do occupancy tracking? Um, and so yes, there are. I know there are occupancy tracking analytics in Video AI, so you can do that type of thing. There's heat mapping as well, and there are certainly a set of vehicle analytics. So for the person that asked that question, it might be great to have a follow-up session where we focus just on Video AI, because I believe everything that's been asked for, the Video AI solution can do, the question that came up in chat. And I think those are all the things in chat. And then I think there's one question in Q&A that we'll probably tackle offline. I need to go double check whether we are integrated with Athena Dispatch or with Raptor. I know we've had a few conversations. I cannot recall where we landed. But thanks, everyone. Appreciate everyone taking the time here. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll follow up over email if there are any questions that we missed as we were quickly skimming through the chat and the Q&A. Thank you.